Huh. It says I'm live, but I'm not live. That's weird. Let's see if I can fix it. Oh wait, am I live or not? What is going on? There we go. Oh, that's weird. So behind. Ooh, what in the world is going on with my Streamlabs? Okay, so do I have two lives up? Like, what is going on? Ugh. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So weird. Okay. What in the world is going on? Let me try this again. Or this is okay. I think there's like two lives going on. So I see Sidarius, you're in the chat. Are like, is it showing for you? Like, can you see Twitter, the screen? So I see Sidarius, you're. This has to be the stream. Okay. All right. That was weird. It looked like I accidentally scheduled like two lives. I don't know what's up with Streamlabs. Sometimes when I set up my my settings, it just like undoes it all. Then I have to redo it. So something happened there. Thanks, Darius. All right. So what is going on, you guys? What's going on? What are your thoughts on the chapter? Now that the officials are out, as far as I read, there weren't very many like differentiations of like what was said as far as translations go. I think this is probably the most on point translations have been in a while. So that was kind of good. But I kind of wanted to see your guys' thoughts on the chapter, what people are talking about, where people's minds are going, and I have a few things I would like to talk about as well. Hembrom, since I can't say your other name, I have made a video on Lucificus already. It is, you might have to scroll back a little bit, but I have. Not much has changed on my stance about him, but we can even talk about him during the stream too. So, there's that. Black Knight, how you doing, bud? Ooh, that's a pretty cool. That's a pretty cool drawing. I like that. See, I need to know who colors. Those comms gotta be open. I really want my own personal drawing of Lucius. Sidarius, you think this is a 10 out of 10 chapter? You're wondering what's gonna happen to Asta now? You know, I haven't even bothered to like rate this chapter at all. I don't know where I'd put it. As far as shock value, I definitely give it a 10 out of 10. And you know, it seems like there's some, you know, addition to the lore, the world building and stuff. So, I guess 10 out of 10 is kind of fair, actually. It's not on the same 10 scale as like 331. I felt like that was a perfect 10 for me. So this is like a lower end 10, in my opinion. Okay. Well, let's see. This looks like a theory. What does this say? The reason why Asta's innate ability could be similar to Lucius. Wait, Asta's innate. Okay. He was able to peer inside Patri and Liabe's mind and memories. He was able to transform non-magic objects, elf swords. He's able to use ki on non-magic concepts like anti-magic and learn black form. Okay, point by point. He was able to peer into Patri and Liabe's mind and memories. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying there. But that was with the help of the Demon Destroyer sword, though, right? So, at what point do we stop and kind of try and separate, like, what is it the sword doing it, the anti-magic, or is it something about Asta? I think there's a potential blend of all, but I think in order to flesh that out a little bit, we would have to differentiate those. He was able to transform non-magic object elf swords. I think that goes into the last point. And then he's able to use ki on non-magic concepts like anti-magic. I don't think... I'm not sure if this person's referring to like using ki on Libe in that moment when they were fighting. Because he wasn't using it on anti-magic. He was using it on Libe himself. And yeah, actually, I don't know why that point is there. Ki's not magic, so it wouldn't be stopped by anti-magic. I don't know what they're trying to get out there. Basic, Lucius being raw, he's a menace. What are you guys thinking? Black Knight, you're giving this a 13 out of 10. Dang, it's a crazy, crazy chapter. Can Asta change Sister Lily back to normal? That's the question. So, not a big fan of this account. Well, let's see what they're saying. Is it bad that I think Asta died here, even with Lucius literally stating goodbye? It'd be very anticlimactic if he just got up again, even if really badly. I don't... Okay, well, we'll talk about that, I guess. Do I think you can change this Lily back to normal? Yeah, probably. You can undo what you've done, essentially. I find it hard to imagine that it's a one-way road. I'm very sure he'd be able to undo what he's done to her for sure. But will he is the other question, and the answer to that is no. Let's see. Or we'll kind of get into it when we get into the talking points. There could be room for him changing someone back. But yeah, we'll have to wait for that. As far as this goes right here, I don't know how it would be anticlimactic if he got back up. Just with what we had in like the first few panels in this chapter, they already say that he's not even using the full potential of his power right now. So, Asta. So, why would it be anticlimactic if our main character hasn't even gone all out yet? If anything, he's holding back a lot now, since Sister Lily has been not only captured but turned into an opponent. So, I'm really not seeing how that makes much sense at all. I don't know. People have some very odd reading styles to me. Need Asta versus Lucius animated? Yeah. We gotta work on that. Lucius touching Yuno's soul. That's gonna be different. We're gonna have to see what's gonna happen. Helix, what's going on? I figure at some point in the stream, I still haven't read your theory, but I figured we can take some time out at some point in the stream and read that together, and then go over it. And then we're also going to talk about this stuff here. I'm glad that Will said something about that. That's cool. But yeah, this is going to be really important into something that was said in this chapter. And yeah, we'll get into that. What else? Just noticed, yeah. I was gonna say this. I didn't know someone already did though. This looks very much like Lucifer falling from grace, right? by the hand of God. Even though I don't view Lucius as God, he is as close to God as we're going to see so far. What did you say, though? Just notice the similar way fallen angels are cast out of heaven for defying God, but Asta is a fallen devil. Oh, what? I don't... That part, I don't agree with. There's no such thing as a fallen devil. And that's not even accepted or allowed into Lucius's new world, as he's already a flaw in the world that can't be changed. Okay? Alright, so we got a question in here. So if Lucius's ideal world is about human domination, what will become of other species like elk, right? And that's something we talked about, and we're going to continue talking about today. Could this be an occasion to see the Queen of Witches again? I love that character and want to see her again. I'm very positive we'll see her again. That was Mick. Imagine a scenario where it's Asta versus everyone. Lucius successfully took down Asta. Asta has a quick trip into the afterlife, comes back from it, and he has to destroy that piece Lucius created. Of course, there would be characters that escaped it and become fugitives. Right. Essentially. So, it's really funny. Like, the theories that I've made up until this point have been ever so slightly off. Like, I kind of take it an extra step when I don't really need to. There was a video I made talking about what happens after the advent of clip art, the whole spade art, and it was really revolving around of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, and I still think it could end up revolving around them in a new twist to this final saga. So like, I had put out a prediction that whoever comes out, and it was also based on the fact that there would be some amount of illusion cast over the population, which is essentially what's gonna happen, right? So with Lucius' soul magic, he explains that the soul is connected to the mind, the body, and the spirit. And I love that he said spirit, because for a long time I've been trying to figure out what Tabata has been trying to do with the aspects of the soul, and he made it very clear that there's a soul and a spirit for sure, and that's good, because that falls in line with all the talks we were having about the Hyperborean lineage, the Atlanteans, and all that good stuff. But as far as the mind goes, this is one of the talk points, so I guess I can just get right into it from here. One of the things with this power is that, as we saw with Sister Lily, he was able to kind of brainwash her into thinking the way that he thinks, so that she now views Asta as a flaw and something that needs to be eradicated in order to bring about the peace of the planet. And that may not be the case, but in Lucius's head, that is the case. And so he made it that way for her. So if he continues doing this, we're going to have just a race of these beings that will have a hive mind, essentially, and they're going to carry out the will of Lucius, just like angels carry out the will of God. It's going to be very hard to escape Lucius, and this is going to be into the next talking point as well, talking about the future for Asta and the squad. So I don't know, it can work either way. If Asta lives or dies here, it doesn't really matter. The point of this is that there will be some people that do not fall under Lucius's spell, and what exactly he can do with certain souls, right? So my thing is that the soul already is a very fickle thing. Especially in this series, we have people like the Eye of the Midnight Sun that have literally died, and it's only because of Roddy's that they came back. Now, I've said this quite a bit in the past, but Sally makes a comment after they were revived by Roddy's, saying that she can see things she wasn't able to see before. And I made the speculation that she might be able to see things like wind spirits, water spirits, earth spirits, and things like that. So, and just for any that might be confused, yes, we have like Belle, Undine, and Salamander, But those are more so the guardians, and we're gonna really talk about that maybe like right now after I read your comments as well. But they would more so be the kings or and queens of that particular element. So if he goes and attempts to touch maybe some of the Eye of the Midnight Sun members, it may not work because they have already died. And I don't know if that's going to make a difference or not, and I'd love to see if it does. And then you also kind of have to apply that to the elves, Raya, Fauna. Maybe not so much. Maybe. No, they should actually be. Should they be okay? I don't know. It's different, and who knows? The rules could be different for elves in general too. I've kind of stated what I think about what he'll do with elves, but we'll kind of get more into the subject in a bit. Let me read your comments real quick. Melly, do you think that the devil's mana in the swallowtail has anything to do with Asta? Yeah. I believe I was live with WK, one of my very first lives ever. That was talked about, and I have thought that that might have been a relic used for Osteroth, but it would be kind of weird. We just don't know the exact, like, what exactly happened with the Swallowtail. Apparently, it was still made after it was the original one was destroyed with Lumiere versus Licht. So it's kind of weird. I'm not sure, but it will connect. It absolutely will connect. Helix is dope. I'd love to hear what everyone thinks. I typed it really late, so hopefully it makes sense. Samuel, can Asta use Berserk mode and Devil Union mode together and then turn Sister Lily back? So that's a good question. So my personal thought on that is just, I don't think he'll go Berserk, because the issue with it is going Berserk. When he went Berserk the first time, it was because Libe had a personal vendetta against Lucifero. And he knew that devil personally, and it affected him personally. So he came forward while Asta was unconscious. So in this particular state, like, Libe, like, yeah, that Asta is his brother. However, this is not a mutual bond that they have. Sister Lily is just Asta's family. So I don't think he'd be able to reach that same level of hurt that Asta is experiencing right now. So I don't know if Berserk will come out. I don't think, I'm not against it if it does. I think more or less there's an allusion to it at the end of the chapter with the way his face is shaded. Something absolutely is about to happen, and it's probably going to be Asta in his max state of anti-magic True Devil Union. So we'll see the armor and see what he's able to do at full potential, if that's changed at all since he fought Lucifero, and hopefully it has, and that would be really cool to see. And it'll also be cool to see how Lucius deals with more output of anti-magic than Asta was putting out right now, because he really no-diffed the Chronostasis spell, and he's putting out 50% or just a tad bit less than 50. So him at 100%, but at a lesser time interval of use, will be the deciding factor here. And of course, I don't think any of us are seeing Lucius bring brought down by it at all. But it should be more of a fight, and we'll see exactly what Lucius is capable of. So yeah, that was a good question. I don't know, but I'm definitely not against it if he does. Helix Morris implanted gems on both the head and center chest. Wonder if he understood, like Lucius, that the soul controlled the mind and soul. The stones also did cause mind fog to Mars, Fauna, and Leisure. That is very true. It did. When Lucius had Sister Lily, it reminded me of when Griffith had Casca in front of Guts. Yeah, I see that for sure. Definitely see that. Melly, if it's possible for Lucius to purify his devil mana, it should be possible for Asta to purify his devil's mana with his pure soul also, right? So, shortly, we have talked about that. I've made a couple of videos talking about just devil contracts in general and the point of them. And depending on what following you're looking at, the point to making a contract with a devil, as far as like pagan rituals go, is to purify that spirit and then release the contract once it is purified. So that's the pagan aspect, and I only bring up the pagan part because the way Noct carries the contracts with the relics and all of that stuff insinuates that it has a pagan background. However, it's just we don't know the state of this exact contract that the Zogratis family seems to be using. It's definitely more different than the one we saw Asta sign with Liabe, and then different from the one that the Foss do with relics. It seems that they're using their bodies, yeah, but Asta's also using his body. It's just we haven't got a perfect situation, so it's very hard to like know exactly what's going on with these devil relationships. But Asta does not have like a particular symbol that he just walks around with all the time, except for the contract that he made that's on his wrist. But he does not have a symbol like the Triad and Lucius have had, like the sun symbol here. So it's very weird. But he does get that symbol in his Devil Union form, of course, the Radiate Crown. So that's definitely different. Okay, so I kind of wanted to go over, I think I put it, yeah, here. So this is what I was talking about towards the end of yesterday's stream. And this is just the overall idea. So you'll see here when I read some of the stuff to you that it's going to be talking about how like humans this, humans that. This is Greek mythology, so we're not going to have much of like elves and like it's very human centric. So it's not going to be very particular to Black Clover, of course. So we might have to like shift things, but I think overall it makes sense, and I have made threads in the past before that I'm still trying to dig up. I'm just trying to think of like keywords I might have used because I can't search them up. But anyway, so these are the ages of man we were talking about yesterday, and it seems to me, at least, and for a while now, that we're heading into the Iron Age, inevitably. So the Golden Age, I'll read this to you. This is the longest one, but it should make a bit of sense. So the Golden Age is the only age that falls within the rule of Kronos, created by the immortals who live on Olympus. These humans were said to live among the gods and freely mingled with them. Peace and harmony prevailed during this age. Humans did not have to work to feed themselves, for the earth provided food in abundance. They lived till a very old age, but with a useful appearance, and eventually died peacefully. Their spirits live on as guardians. Plato, in Cratylus, recounts the golden race of men who came first. He clarifies that Hesiod did not mean men literally made of gold, but good and noble. He describes these men as daemons upon the earth, since daemons is derived from whatever the heck that says, which means knowing or wise. They are beneficent, preventing ills, and guardians of mortals. So this is also just a very, very huge part here. So this, as it detailed, this was a race that lived freely among the gods, didn't have to worry about food or anything like that, or getting ill, and any of it. But the guardians of mortals part is important, because those that guard mortals are would be the spirits of the elements that we have now, because they are spirits are regarded as daemons, and daemons is an umbrella term for any spirit really. For the Greeks, they didn't necessarily have angels, but they didn't classify gods as daemons, but anything that did not have the status of a god fell under the umbrella of daemons. And so those wind spirits, earth spirits, all that stuff would be considered this, and those are the guardians. So I believe that the remnants of the Golden Age are the beings like Bel, Undine, Salamander, and all that stuff from a more pure race. So then we'll move on to the Silver Age. The Silver Age, and every age that follows, fall within the role of Cronus, Cronus' successor and son, Zeus. Men in the Silver Age lived for 100 years under the dominion of their mothers. They lived only a short time as grown adults and spent that time in strife with one another. During this age, men refused to worship gods, and Zeus destroyed them for their impiety. After death, humans of this age became blessed spirits of the underworld. So now, this to me seems to be the age in which, in our case, the Clipot starts gaining its population, where demons are starting to be born from the misdeeds of humans. As we see that Zeus starts turning against the impious ones, the ones that refuse to worship. So now we have the reason for the elemental spirits like Undine, Bel, and Salamander, and then we have the reason for why the underworld is populated in the Silver Age. So now we get to the Bronze Age. I thought the screen was black for a second. My bad. Bronze Age. Men of the Bronze Age were hardened and tough, as war was their purpose and passion. Zeus created these humans out of ash tree. Their armor was forged of bronze as their homes and tools. And the men of this age were undone by their own violent ways and left no named spirits. Instead, they dwell in the dark house of Hades. This age came to an end with the flood of Deucalion. So this to me seems like how we got some of the more supreme devils, as Lucifero, Megicula, and all of them came to be. That's what it says to me. It's kind of hard to interpret, like I was saying in the beginning. This is very human centric, and the spirits are pretty vague when it comes to the Greeks. But these last two are pretty important to me. So the Heroic Age is the age that does not correspond with any metal. It also is the only age that improves upon the age it follows. It was the heroes of this age who fought at Thebes and Troy. This race of humans died and went to Elysium. So this is all chronological order to me. Well, I mean, obviously chronological order, but I'm also talking in the terms of Black Clover, where we have a literal Elysia, and we see that there are souls around the tree that the Dryad is guarding. So this age seems to have already happened. And that's the important part, because now I believe that we're heading into the Iron Age now for sure. So in the Iron Age, it says that Hesiod finds himself in the Iron Age. During this age, humans live an existence of toil and misery. Children dishonor their parents, brother fights with brother, and social contract between guest and hosts is forgotten. During this age, might makes right, and bad men use lies to be thought good. At the height of this age, humans no longer feel shame or indignation at wrongdoing. Babies will be born with gray hair, and the gods will have completely forsaken humanity. There will be no help against evil. So, I had made a video and a thread talking about the Iron Age and how I believe that Asta may be the very first human born into the Iron Age, where he's got no magic. And to have no magic in this age means to be forsaken by the gods. So this means that there is no help against evil in this case. And the first thing that finds Asta, technically, is evil through anti-magic. So I think that makes sense there. And I love this part. That's the social contract between guest and host. So the Greeks have this thing called xenia, where this is more so talking about like they believe like when you enter someone's home, you do your best not to do anything that will offend them or put them in harm's way. However, in this age, that means nothing. So we have these contracts between devils, and we see with Lucius, I have to assume that something's not being honored in his contract, and he's shifted it so that he's able to take full advantage of the powers that he was supposed to have been borrowing. So this is the age we're working towards, and this no help against evil. So I was seeing, I think it was PQ again, who had made this post that people are talking about, where he says that Lucius is not, and he's not an antagonist, which he is. Like, he's absolutely an antagonist. However, the better conversation to have is Lucius actually evil? That's a better conversation, I guess, if you're more of a black and white person, don't want to talk about like philosophical points at all. Then the answer is yes, he is evil. But there are areas of gray, which is the whole point of philosophy, and many philosophers have gone to the extreme of like, yes, good and evil is black and white. However, we also have people that believe that humans are innately good, some that believe that humans are innately bad. Then there's the mixture of the two. I tend to favor the idea that humans are dualistic, so it is black and white, but there's an area of gray, and that is us, and our decisions are based on what is black and white. So we get into the question of like, okay, is Lucius 100% evil? I would say as he stands right now and the way he's framed his mission, I would say no. But the way he's doing it, the vehicle to this end is absolutely evil. To hold someone hostage and to go after someone's, the love of his life, to make sure that he is demoralized and not fully capable of fighting a fair fight, is definitely not good. But within everyone, in order to understand that decision that you are going to make, or the ones that you have made, or the ones that you will make, are good and evil, you have to have the element of good and evil within you already to know the difference between the two. And so, to get into this next point about good and evil, it's like, feel free to ask any questions in the chat. Like, I'm a huge nerd about this, always have been. Have loved studying philosophers and their philosophy. But good and evil is really more or less a social construct. So, yes, like, we'll take something obviously evil to our standards is murder. Murder across the board for most people on Earth currently is just a big no-no. However, there are some places that do condone murder under certain conditions. And even under those certain conditions, we, like here in America, there's a tribe in Africa that still kills albinos. And that to us may look highly uncivilized. It's not uncivilized. But to them, that is their way of life, and it is not evil. So that is the blur of the lines. So to us, that's wrong. To them, that's right. And if we don't kill albinos ourselves, to them, that is wrong. So the lines of good and bad have always been blurred, but it's something that is constructed by the nurture, the environment around you, and the people that have taught you what was right and wrong. But like I said, there are some things I think that are just universal. But Lucius is going to serve the purpose of making sure that those lines are blurred. Because the more blurred they are, the more Lucius can get away with. So that'll be really cool. I'm going to switch back to Twitter here. I'm going to read your comments. Let's see. Shelly, hi, if I didn't say hi already. Helix, you have a theory on where those mage stones, not magic stones, come from, and it involves real and is possibly knowledge to things that others don't know. Because he makes spells through inspiration. Interesting. Simul, if Asta awakens his magic, will he get a grimoire in the final arc? I've made a video talking about it. I put in there that I believe he's got this like soul magic, but I don't think he'll end up getting magic. I don't think his body will ever get magic. If it does, it's going to be celestial based, just like Yuno has a celestial based magic, and it could be planetary. But I'm more so of the thought that he'll get what's called the Book of Life, and it's going to be the compiled experiences of every living being there ever is, ever was, and yeah, and he kind of alludes to being able to do this in his fight with Libe, where it shows everything he's picked up from like people like Fonzel, Licht, Yami, Mars, all those guys. And the fact that he's able to pull off moves after just witnessing them, like he's done with Yami's death thrust that he used on Libe to secure the win. So it seems as though Asta does have something to do with souls, but it's not in the way that Lucius does it. And I think it's really cool because then it kind of gives this theory that I've had about Lucius and Asta possibly being like possibly half brothers. And we talked about that 2 streams ago, but the idea behind it is that it kind of follows Hungry Joker, where Haiji, his half brother knocked, or are they full brothers? And I think they're full brothers, but just like half god. Those guys are, connected. So I believe it's something like that. Because yes, Asta being able to change the shape of his swords is pretty well. At least of Demon Destroyer, he doesn't really change the shape of anything else. But we see that with each sword he grabs in full armor, his armor itself shifts into a different shape. So it seems as though the shape of the soul itself is changing. So that's kind of my thought on that. Trayvon, what's going on? Glad you're here. Samuel, if there's 6-leaf clover, is there a 6-leaf? I don't think so. We don't need any more leaves, man. Not for me, but it's possible. I mean, it's a series about magic. I'm also not the writer. I just don't see the point in like a 6-leaf. Shelly, I want to talk about Julius's prophecies. I think they're coming true, but I believe they are going to do with Asta's rebirths. I believe he is going to be stutter. Believe he's going to be reborn twice as a demon, then reborn as an angel. Okay, and then Helix. Do you think those elf markings, or do you think those are elf markings? Or maybe angelic markings, like how there are devil markings on Zergata siblings. Elves, for all we know, are the closest to divinity. I don't think I understand your question. I'm sorry, Helix. Do I think those elf... like the markings on Lucius's face, are they elf markings? I'm sorry. Can you rephrase your question? Like, explain it to me like I'm 5. In the meantime, let me see what else I wanted to talk to you guys about real quick. Oh, Purified power. So I think that's going to be a really interesting concept. So, this to me, we see Lucius obviously goes into like a state of devil union, then purifies that, which means the nature of the powers should be different. So it's really funny and kind of odd how we've seen devils aside from Libe with powers that follow the laws of nature. So time, gravity, space, fire, ice, those kinds of things. So to demonify them, those are demonic powers already. So then to purify those powers, what would they end up being? So I can definitely speak on Lucifero, since we 100% know that he's absorbed Lucifero. To purify gravity, that means we would have to consider what would purified gravity look like. And to me, I feel like it could be, I could be wrong, but it would be a form of wind. And I say wind because wind gives us pressure, and gravity is honestly just like invisible pressure. We can't really say more or less to that. But it wouldn't be just like regular wind, of course. I think if it may look like aether, what we had been suspecting to be to have had. So it will be interesting, and I'm curious to see what Lily's new magic is going to look like. If it's going to retain the same watery shape, or if it's going to be something else entirely. It's I don't know. I really don't know what that'll look like, but I think it's worth a conversation. It won't just be gravity anymore. It'll be something else entirely. So, Broku, what's up? Do you think we'll see Lucius versus Beelzebub? Um, I'm My biased answer is saying no because I feel almost positive saying like Beelzebub's in there already. We got the 6 wings, 2 halos, the antlers. It all screams Beelzebub for me. But if he does, number one, that'd be super hype because Beelzebub has something that he would need, which is Xenon's soul. So yeah, I mean, in that sense, I think I'd be ready for that fight and to see, what Beelzebub would do because that soul is his, rightfully his. Xenon gave it to him, and that would mean Beelzebub is a completely different beast than all the devils that we've seen previously because he wouldn't be as boisterous and cocky as the other devils because he now has a soul, which means he should have human emotions, and that in itself also means that he can more than likely obtain a grimoire of his own should he come topside and be able to evolve his power so it's not just the basis of the spatial magic like we saw Lucifero not having any singularities or anything like that. So it would be interesting for sure. What does this say? I wonder if this means Donatio will be revealed as a soldier for Lucius later. Oh, Broku. So, to your point yesterday, for the... I butcher the name, but the Einhar. I think it's totally possible that for someone like Damnatio, whatever he did with him, he may have done the same thing with Lily, and he might put Lily where he put Damnatio, and it might be like a completely separate space for use later. That could be very possible. And I do like that idea a lot. Okay. I think we saw this account already. Okay. Lucius has 3 different forms of grimoires. His black spade grimoire. Okay. His coverless grimoire. And his white sacred spade grimoire. The theory is if he combines partial transformation of Devil Union form and sacred form, his spade grimoire could be half black and half white. That's a thing that could happen, I guess. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting. So what that ends up doing effectively is giving him, so what's he got? Gravity, time, soul. So he's got 3 attributes, and then if we consider that he's able to purify the gravity and give it a different type, if he does the half and half form, that gives him a 4th attribute. And then I don't know. This is interesting because that's something I didn't really pick out. Is that his grimoire the color changed, absolutely did change. So I would go on record and say that this is more into the point of Cernanos actually. Like I think this grimoire that we see now would be the power of life that Cernanos has, and then this would be the power of death. So then I would have to question if Damnatio is even alive. I'm sure he is, but that's interesting. What is this base power that he has before it purifies? Interesting. That's a cool point. Okay. Catch up with you guys. Okay. Helix, sorry, the markings the elves have for their reincarnation are all unique to them, like how each devil have a marking, has markings unique to themselves. Do you think real angels tied with elves is basically what you meant? Okay, so the elf markings are interesting. I think we should just look at some. What is we're done with this one, so we'll use that tab. Elf reincarnation. So there's some arbitrary marks like Marx's, where it's like a USB drive, and it's just obvious that it just means like memory. I believe who was with Marx? I forget his name all the time. I don't know why. But the doctor, is it Mark? No, Owen. He's got the symbol for like medicine. However, we look at some. I want to look at because I've looked into this, and it's hard to place a lot of these guys. So like this looks like a painting brush, or like not the brush, but like the little palette. When you place splotches of colors on wood. That's what that looks like for Lyra. This Lux symbol is actually really cool. So I looked into it. Back when I bought the 3 occult books of philosophy from Cornelius Agrippa, he details the angelic alphabet. And the sign that Luck has, while it looks like a thunderbolt, it is also a part of the angelic alphabet. And it means Lamed. And I have a thread about that somewhere, but yeah, it's very interesting, and it fits Luck and Lyra very. Wait, that's Lyra. Who's? I'm getting them mixed up. Don't mind me. But then I really wanted to point out, it's funny that Licht is like the last one to show up here. That's weird. So we get guys like Raya, Yuno, and Licht are the ones I really want to look at, because their symbols. Okay, so notice every single elf that we looked at so far has equidistant markings that they're the same on both sides and everything. You see that with Longreese as well. Raya only has one. Yuno also only had one. And I guess we'll talk about Yuno first really quick. Yuno's marking is half of Licht's marking. And it makes sense that it's only half because his son was going to be a hybrid. Or his son was a hybrid and his other son would have been a hybrid. And then Raya only has one as well. So I've been playing with the idea that Raya is also a hybrid, but of what? And Raya is the only one that had black and white hair mixed, while I will say, like, in his in the first life that he lived, it was all white. Then yes, they found a body for him, and that's what happened. But it's very interesting that he maintained the one mark. I believe it carried on into the white hair. It may not have. I don't. Actually, that might be fair to look up, because I think that was one of those theories that I kind of stopped looking at for whatever reason. I just want to see if Raya maintains having just one when all the elves are out. Yeah, he does. And he does maintain some black hair as well. So I'm looking at Raya thinking there's something else with him that hasn't been considered. And ultimately I'm thinking he could be part Jotun, was my initial thought. The nature of his magic is just so odd. And all of the black-haired characters that we've had have had just very, very odd, just magic attributes. Some that we've just never seen before. So it'll be really interesting, and I think, I think we'll definitely see Lucius head to Elysia, and I want to know what he'll do, and what he can do to those elves. But I posted about it yesterday. If he'll go to Elysia, I'm speculating that he'll turn those elves into supreme devils to, get their heart. And so I don't think he could just turn any elf into a supreme devil. I think the difference is going to be what kind of elf he turns into a supreme devil. So we have two different classes. We have non-apostles, and then we have apostles of Saphira. So if this elf is an apostle of Saphira, I believe that he'll be able to turn them into supreme. And if he does, he'll be able to absorb their attribute and then purify it as well, and make it his own. So they could really be in trouble. And I think the really cool thing is that if he does that to Vetso that has animal or beast magic, we have Cernunnos, who's the king of wild beasts. So, very interesting stuff. Lucius is already the best villain in the arc. Yeah. Faux show. What else are we talking about in here? What if Beelzebub has many different magic types from taking the souls of his many hosts? It could be. I mean, we saw that with Megicula, but we just don't know how many souls Beelzebub has been in contact with at all. I would... yeah, it's tough to say. We don't really know. Yeah. Because I would say it's just Xenon so far. Because I feel like we would definitely know and have heard of Beelzebub way before any of this happened. Like we had been hearing about Megicula for a while. So I don't know. But I think it is possible, definitely. If any devil has more than one soul in their possession, they can absolutely use those attributes. Oh yeah, you said that in the next comment. So, yeah. Shelley, according to Julius's first prophecy, that Asta is going to get killed. Then the four kingdoms are getting destroyed. I believe it has to do with Asta getting killed by Lucius and gets reborn as a demon with Libe's heart after Lucius has declared war on humanity. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what a war would look like right now. Fuegolian just said that the Spade and the Heart Kingdom are, just about to be in full recovery. And it's like the vibe I'm getting is just that the world has just kind of had enough for now. They've gone through enough. And that's why he says that peace is on the horizon, but there's just like deviled activity that they're taking care of. So I don't know what that'll look like. Byron, honestly, I can see Lucius having 12 apostles just like Jesus, probably. How many, let's see. I want to know how many squads there are. Or, well, Black Clover squads. Let's see. So that is all of them, right? Oh no. Well, if it was 5 more rows, what did it show us? 4? That's 9. Is it 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. Okay. So that's 9. Should he turn all these people, which I kind of doubt he will get all the captains, but he'll get a representative of all of them, I think. At least. And then we have Lily, and then Damnatio. So I guess we would just need one more. The second prophecy stated that the kingdom will be destroyed after Asta gets killed. I believe Asta will sacrifice himself to save someone that he cared about and gets reborn as an angel. Possible. He also can tell when people are lying. Everyone with an additional quirk, like Witch Queen, seems to... Right, so that was the other thing lending into the Jotun theory, because the only characters that we know that can read Ki are Yami and Austin. I believe Yami said in his fight against Dante that Julius can also use Ki, which is pretty important. What was I going to say? Yeah, because those guys can tell when people are lying as well. And I assume that it has to do with the fact that Raya can also use Ki. And I believe someone also said that Vetso can use Ki. I might be wrong on that, though. So it's very, very interesting. And Vetso seems like the least elfy elf there is to me. He seems really different. What else you guys saying down here? I have a feeling that it will play out like Little Nicky. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying there. That's a funny reference though. Where do I think Kaiser is, or do you think he stepped down from duty? I would step down from duty to be honest. If I were Kaiser, bruh, I'm done. He had a better chance fighting one of the uh, the Triad members, dude. He got done dirty. But him and Leo are chilling in the same place, so Broku Veto can use Ki, so yeah. So we've got some characters that can use Ki, and who are just fundamentally different from the rest of their race. So it just seems like less of a coincidence. Man, dude, okay. Honestly, I blocked this dude, didn't I? I don't know why he keeps showing up. Yeah, blocked. Okay. I guess we'll just read his stuff. Shall we? I assumed you were a girl from your name. Did I say you were a guy? Um, okay. Lucius represents the Savior, the God, the Almighty, the Powerful, and he just happens to have exactly 3 siblings. Tabata cooking me things. What is this? What is this wiki Snapchat? Catholic. In Catholicism, there are 3 mentioned by names. Gabriel, Michael, Raphael. I don't know. I think that's possible, though. Like, what... Do you guys think that he turned his siblings into angels like he did Lily? I don't think he has yet, to be honest with you. Because if there's demonic activity on the borders of the Clover Kingdom, it seems like whatever... I believe that if there are siblings out there right now causing that activity, it's Vonica and Dante. Not Xenon, though. And I don't think he would have turned them yet. And I don't know why. I don't know. But maybe it's more of a... They're using the demonic power because maybe they prefer it, or they're trying to draw attention to them so that they spread their ranks kind of thin so that Lucius can get away with more in the capital. While they're also able to do what he's doing now by using this sacred magic. So I think that would be more to the point there. Broke you wide block. Bro, all this, okay, for so many reasons, but like one of the main ones is that this dude does nothing but like talk shit. It's just very negative energy. All I was seeing, and I was talking to some other people on here too, some other creators. All he does is like steal their theories, and it's wild, and I'm not with that energy, dude. I'm only seeing blocked people on here. That's so crazy. I don't know why it's like that right now. This looks like a theory. Let's look at it. So theory time. Lucius wants to create his own new Jerusalem, a sinless land of bounty where nobody gets sick or hungry. It's his world peace, but more like the end of the world. 90% sure that humanity's true form is Lucius converting everyone into angels. Well, I think that was directly, not implied, but like pretty much stated with what he's done in the chapter. So, yeah. No more potatoes for Sister Lily. That's a good thing, I guess. Helix, where do you think the land of the rising sun is on the BC map? Wherever Japan is. There's an island to the far side of the Heart Kingdom, and that's my guess. Let me look at the map. Because I know that the Spade Kingdom is oriented so that it's west. Yeah. So here's the big one. Let's use this one because there's English on there. I prefer English. Let's see if I can get a bigger picture for us. Because, yeah, I know that the Spade is not true north or anything like that because... Oh, it's a spoiler. 3 years ago. I know that for a fact just because it's part of the factor that kind of throws off some of my theories about Hyperborea being above the Spade Kingdom. Yeah, it is west. So if you look at that compass there, north is to the Diamond Kingdom, west is the Spade. and we're in the east, in the Clover Kingdom. So you're saying there's an island right here. Okay. Okay. Do we know if Alicia is possibly on this larger island or maybe the small one? Or is it confirmed that it's within like the main region of the Heart Kingdom? Because I would say that this would maybe be Alicia. But that's just me. Interesting stuff. I always have to remind myself where things are on this map. So like Hajj is down here, right next to the Forbidden Region, or Forsaken. And then we have the Witch's Forest. This is by the Diamond Kingdom over here. But it's in between the Diamond Kingdom and the Spade Kingdom, right? I feel like it was in a high magic region, or close to. Okay. Well, let me go back to something really quick. Well, oh no, I took it back. So I believe it was in the back when we were talking about the different ages of man. It was saying how there was like a flood or something like that. In Ragnarok, there's also a flood. So the reason why it makes even more sense chronologically for Black Clover is that we have the seabed temple, which seems to allude to there have been civilizations existing, but then were forced to be underwater at some point in time for whatever reason. And that could possibly be due to Ragnarok-like events or apocalyptic events concerning the floods. Hackerman, not the in the magic region. The Witch's Forest is in the magic region. Cool. And then Black Knight, Mommy Vonica. All right. Tabata giving Hungry Joker vibes. Definitely. There are some Hungry Joker vibes there for sure. It's actually really cool. This could really be the rise of the White Jokers right now. But it's just there's some things that need to be explained before that can be like a for sure thing. Because the White Jokers, as we left off with, stood for something good, but there can easily be a plot twist to where it's not necessarily the case. Because there's also evidence within Hungry Joker that imply that the White Jokers are not completely benevolent. The organization, not so much the active participants like Haiji and all of his friends like Chitose, but they are manipulating them, telling them where to go and all that stuff. So it's up in the air, and unfortunately it didn't get finished. But hopefully with this, it could be explained what Tabata was going to do with these White Jokers against the Black Gods. Hackerman, Alicia is in the High Magic region. Okay. But we need to know where the High Magic region is in the Heart Kingdom, though. So it would be in here between the Spade Kingdom, is what you would be saying. But they did say it's within the confines of the Heart Kingdom, though. I do remember that, because they're shielding them. They know of their existence there, so it's not. It wouldn't be in here. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so the next part I did want to talk about while this is up, before I forget, is that Asta makes the comment that this new form that he sees Lucius in is not of. It doesn't feel like a devil or a human. It's something else that he hasn't experienced. The thing is that Asta got to experience Noel in Saint Stage. So it's, to me, I feel like Saint Stage would be the closest to being angelic. Hence why it's called Saint Stage. So if he's not making a callback to that, I feel like this says that these have to be false angels. I think that has to be the statement we have to make. And he even doesn't claim that they're angels. He says these are true humans. So to me, I feel like this whole false angel thing has a lot of credibility. But I do want to talk about the nature of Lucius's power, right? So we did talk about how there would be a hive mind between all the people that he turns into this true form. And I think what will happen, I think I got sidetracked talking about Roddy's in the Eye of the Midnight Sun. But the point to that is that there's going to be no escaping Lucius. So if you guys remember, a lot of us are talking about how we think the end of the Spade arc might include, like, yeah, Lucifero doesn't get defeated necessarily, but what happens is that there is no excuse me, there's no escape from him. Let's see if that pulls up anything, because we saw that Lucifero can channel himself through any lower ranking devil. That's how we found Lucida, and that's how we found Liebe. Is this the one? Well, I look for it. I guess I'll try to multitask. But there's the element of Lucifero power that he can do that. So if he's turning these people into angels that are lesser than him, of course, he would be able to be omnipresent like Lucifero was. And there would really be no escaping him. I'm just trying to look for... I mean, that was kind of the idea. I don't know why I'm still looking for the, the post. So I guess I won't. But I think that'll be really important going into it, because that means a fight can sprout just about anywhere. So more into that idea is that he can get to Elysia, and if he's able to manipulate these souls, he can possibly dictate where they go, the shape that they'll take, of course. And if he can dictate where they go, he can make sure that the people around them, wherever they go, can be found. And then let's say he goes into the devil portion of his power and he doesn't purify it. In theory, he should be able to also tap into lower ranking devils as well. But, you know, that's not something we saw with Dante, so it's... Why did I clear it? No, I don't need to do that. I just want to go back. But yeah, it could be the case. And that would be really cool, to have an enemy you actually just can't escape from yet. Let me catch up on these comments real quick. Trayvon, do you think Lily and the others who get turned into true humans could they act as false prophets of Saphira and receive divine revelation? So whatever divinations they get will come from Lucius. Just like how the elves get divinations directly from the Dryad. I think that's how it'll work. So it won't be from like God or gods or anything like that. It'll be from him. So that's the whole point of the hive mind part of this theory. Shelley, you're thinking that Asta will start as a demon and get mistreated horribly. You think the priest who raised him in Yuno will start a riot and go after him when he's blaming him for Lily. Okay, I don't think they'll start like a riot, but I think that would actually be cool. Like that, God, I forgot his name. But yeah, the caretaker of the church. He's never really cared for Asta, I feel like. I've never liked him. He's been a Yuno fanboy, and he just seems, I don't know, he just doesn't seem like a cool dude. So I guess I can see some of what you're saying for sure. Shelley, you hope that Black Clover will turn out to be a sequel to Hungry Joker. So you're on Broku's side. Get out. You're not allowed in this chat anymore. Just kidding. But yeah. Yeah, definitely. I hope Hungry Joker just plays a part in this period. No matter if it's a sequel or a prequel. I think it works. Broku, what did you write? Let's get my favorite booktuber to read Black Clover. Do it. or die. What we need to do is get Wendigoon to read this series. He's a great he's good at analyzing the things that he reads and the movies that he watches. So I think Orsi is his name. Thank you, Hackerman. Um, yeah, yeah. We need Wendigoon in here like ASAP. ASAP. We needed him yesterday. Um, that'd actually be really cool to do like a collab with Wendigoon. Um, that dude is like, he's one of my favorites for sure. He did the whole Divine Comedy and analyzed the crap out of it. It was super cool to watch him do it. Well, I didn't agree with a fair amount of some of his analysis. It was just really cool to see how he arrived at the ideas that he got to. Oh God, there's always something going on with B in here. um, you had to Google. I have to Google so many things about Black Clover. Sometimes I feel like I'm not a true fan, but it's so easy to forget like a ton of this lore that we get in Black Clover. Um, let's see. Uh, okay. I want to see if there's anything I need to flesh out. So I had some, you know, I had to sit down and really think about like this whole Advent of Ragnarok thing, and I really like the idea. I'm questioning whether it's gonna happen or not. I feel like it could. Um, but yeah. I don't know if Tabata was really going for this look. It just really looks like that. Like if you look at this Grimoire, definitely looks like that. And if you don't know what that is, that's from Dante's Paradiso, the last addition to the Divine Comedy. Here, I believe he's looking. He's in Empyrean, and he should be looking down. And this is no. This is Empyrean. He's in Empyrean, and he's looking up. And this is the Tabernacle of God. And this is his choir in Empyrean, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's from Paradiso. Really, really good picture. Yeah. The parallels in this arc are gonna go so insane. So insane. Also, I think there is gonna be, while we're on this picture, I think there's gonna be some Escanor-like qualities that Lucius may have, where time of day absolutely matters. So here's the thing about just demons in general when it comes to like summoning them or using them for whatever end you need to reach, is that they'll specify that there are certain days and times that this devil is at its most powerful, or days that it prefers to work on. So I believe Osteroth is like a Wednesday. I should have my book around here somewhere. Let me grab my book. I want to be more specific. So in this book, this is from the Grand Grimoire, or the Book of the Red Dragon. Let me get to the page real quick. Should probably turn on a light. Jeez, it's dark in here. I don't know. Darkness is my friend. I'm in the dark with my demonic book. I'm all set for hell, you guys. I'll see you there. All right. Yeah. Here we go. So Astaroth. Let's see. Is this where it says when he? I don't think it does actually. Not in this one. Yellow belly, reddish brown neck, arrow points. Oh, so the Grand Grimoire doesn't have the day he prefers to work on. So then that means it's in the book that Cornelius Agrippa wrote. And I'm not about to look for that. That's a giant book, you guys. But anyway, yeah. Some of these devils have, and angels as well, have certain times they prefer to work on, or certain times that they can only work on. And Osteroth is definitely one of those devils. So we saw that when he first walked into the scene on Asta and Lily, there were 3 rays missing before it became full again, and then now it's light. So I don't think it's the same. Let me look at the picture of Julius before he turns that switch on Julius. Was it 333 that happened? Yes. Okay. So yeah, it's different from Julius even too, because Julius still had a black sun, but the middle was hollowed out, and then Lucius had the sun, but it was all black. But this one is an all white sun, and the circle is shaded in. It's also shaded in white. So this is entirely different. So his symbol just constantly is changing. And I'm wondering if this has to do with the dual nature of Astaroth. That Astaroth is a demon, and the female Astaroth, which would be Astarte, is a goddess who would be heavenly. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. But I think time of day also matters, because if you guys notice, they really draw an emphasis on like the sky with Sister Lily and Asta. And while it could be cool, like to actually no, let's just Google it. Much easier. Well, it'd be cool to like have the nice like background with everything going on. I think that's the point that he's trying to get across. So we have this other shot of Julius that is almost the same, and it's this weird I don't want to say overcast sky, so it's here too. You see, it's just full of it's like a dusk that we're looking at. Where's the other one that I like to? It's one of my favorite. It's like a panorama of Julius, but it's him looking off into the distance, and it's the same kind of sky that we see behind Lily and Asta, and in this current fight. It's this one, but in manga form. Hopefully, it's in this. It looks just like the setting that they're in now. I'll try to find it. I don't know. But I'm thinking that, yeah, he might have some Escanor-like qualities, where he might be stronger at some time of day, and they'll have to take advantage of that. And it might be a very, very short window. And the thing is that it makes sense because it's this one, but the background is gone. Why is it hard to do this? Any other day, it would just pop right on up, as it usually does. Oh, here it is. It's the same kind of sky, same feel. But Astaroth is, or the evil counterpart of Astarte, who is labeled as Anat, the goddess of death, is the evening star, Venus, while Astarte is the morning star. So I'm thinking that as it starts reaching a new day, or the highest points of the day, he's able to access the more heavenly powers of Astaroth, while I guess when we're looking into getting into the nighttime, we're looking at the demonic powers more so. So he may not be able to purify that power all the time, which I think is a very reasonable limiter to this power, because it also does insinuate that he himself is not perfect yet, and I don't think he is. I think we're still getting there. So that's my thought on it, at least. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Okay. Helix, could you see Father Orsi become a devil? Mephisto, maybe? I don't know. I don't think he'd become Mephisto. That's way too important for a guy like Orsi. He could turn. There's actually a devil named Orsi, I believe. Let me take a look in this handy dandy devil book. It's like Orsa or Orsi, and that'd be kind of cool if he turns into that, because it's one of those devils that have a high rank in the underworld, but they're not like a ruler per se. They fall under guys like Agliarept, Fluerty, who else? Nibiros is a good one. Satanakia. I think it's Orsilas. But I feel like there's also an Orsi. If I don't find it now, maybe I'll just throw it up on Twitter. Because that'd be kind of cool. Screw that guy too. That guy should just die. He's in the Nash book. In the Nash realm. Could you see... Oh, I already read that. I'm still pulling for a Magna Ghost Rider transformation, so I'm just hoping for Mephisto. Yeah, I think we'll at least get that. I think it'd be really cool. I think you and I were talking about this on another stream, Helix, where it'd be kind of cool to see Magna... Like, there's really no hope for Magna to get something greater than the power that he has now. It's unfortunately the flaw of this world that they're in, that not everyone has this equal treatment, and that's exactly what Lucius is trying to correct. So it'd be interesting to see Magna and what he'll do when he's approached with this kind of opportunity. And I think even a guy like Magna can see that Lucius is not the guy to follow. So I'm wondering if Noct will be able to set people up to make contracts. And I think out of everyone, he can probably get through to someone like Magna, and I think he would like someone like Magna as well. And seeing what he's capable of doing on his own, and always trying to be the best he can be. But being so limited on magic power, he will have to turn to devils, maybe, to strengthen that. So yeah. Hackerman, Jack is a member of the Devil Believers. Hey, I mean, you want to be a winner, you got to run with the winning team, and unfortunately, it's not the winning team right now. So I got to start getting more angel books in here. I got one book, two books actually. Well, I mean, if we get real technical, I had 5 of them. But man, the angel stuff is so vague, just because angels aren't like, they have no free will like devils do. So it's just their tasks are just their tasks, and nothing more, nothing less. They're literally just robots. So it's not as interesting to read about them. But yeah, it's whatever. Devils kind of make them more interesting, to be honest. You like Daniel Green? I really hope he will like it. Like what? Who's Daniel? Helix. If a Dremelech has radiation magic, I'm predicting the sun marking has to do with the Dremelech, because I'm predicting before he was a devil, he had sun magic and had Faunus Phoenix ability. Okay, so that was one of the theories that I put in with the Lucius Master Plan theory, to talk about the symbol, because it could go a multitude of different ways. The sun symbol, of course, goes to beings like Belphegor and Kiowa, essentially, since Tiferet and Tigirian are associated with the sun. So Tiferet on the Tree of Life, here, I think I have it right here. Tiferet, you see here, is the sun. This is the Tree of Life. But on the Tree of Death, it's called Tigirian, and it's attributed to the Black Sun. It's really one of the only signs on here, on the Tree of Death, that's attributed to something that goes straight into like black XYZ. So it's the Black Sun. Then you'll have the Black Moon here, but you won't find things like Black Earth, the Black Venus, or anything like that. So it's something to be wary of when talking about that sort of stuff. But when you go into like each of their lore, you'll see that Adremelech, who's here, who's corresponding to Had, is a sun god. And they sacrifice their children through fire to him. And I've explained Adremelech would be a lesser being of the devil that resides here in Keter, on the tree of death, which is the Thamael. He's a lesser form of Moloch, the Canaanite god, who they did the same thing to. But here, Hod, Keter, all the things that they did when they're sacrificing the children, they're also doing this by worshiping a statue of Moloch, and that in and of itself means that they're ultimately worshiping Beelzebub, because Beelzebub is the one who creates these false gods and has people worship idols, and it's written all over his lore, no matter what source you're looking at. Even in the Book of Solomon, they talk about how when the Ark of the Covenant was opened, all these demons came flying out. Beelzebub stayed behind, and instead of wreaking havoc on the world actively, what he did was took shape inside of a statue, and he had people worship that statue, and that's how he ended up gaining his power. And he lasted the longest out of all of them because he didn't make himself known to the world as himself. So he went by many different names, which is why now you have Beelzebub, who's conflated with Satan, and all these other different names for him, and it's because that's what he sought out to do. Yeah. Really getting into this Asta potentially being like, I mean, with this line of thought, so you guys have to talk to WK about this. I really wish he'd put his channel back up. Hopefully he will, because he's made some videos talking about Alan, and he's been all over, Alan's existence since this happened. But in these videos here, I talk about their last names, and why it's important now is because we have this Cernunnos-like character who's equivalent to Odin, and Fear Rain, when you bifurcate the name, means fire rain, and of course that comes out to be Odin, or rather son of Odin. And if that's the case, and all these souls are connected, and Alan in fact is connected to both Libe and Asta, that means they'd have to be the son of Odin. I suggest looking at these. These are pretty cool. It's just not a deep dive into their name, but it's just talking about what their names could mean for the series. And then Ralph, his last name is Neophlem, which is close to Niflheim, which is the world of mist. And if you look at his magic, it's fire, yeah, but it acts as this like mirage of a mist. And he's able to create these illusions, or his own little world out of them. So I think these Spade characters have some sort of tie-in with some of the more Norse lore, as we obviously see with having the wind spirits, and I'm hoping he's gotten noticed by now. He should. But yeah. These are good thoughts here, I think. What are you guys saying now? Broku and Jack. Fun fact, Heidi's assistant Chitose means 1,000 years in Japanese, and Lucida means punishing in German. Does Lucida mean punishing in German? I thought that just meant light. Let me look it up. Which one are we not using? Here. Lucita. German to English. Is tender German? Oh, well. Wait. Let's try just Lucida, and then we're gonna make that German. And this is not going to be like the most perfect translation, as most of these Google things are. Let's switch that around. Nope. Let's see. Because if we do that for... Is it Latin? Latin is lawful. Yeah, I'm not sure if Wasita means that in German. Let me see. Wasita. Not really giving us a translation of it though. What is that about? I'm not seeing that. Is there a place I should go that will show me what you saw? Because yeah, I'm seeing lawful, but that's for the Latin, and that's what I've been going off of. And Lasita also does mean light. So yeah, I don't know. Um, I don't know if Lasita and Chitose would have a connection. I think it makes sense that Chitose would have a connection with like the Witch Queen or Vonica, since her Eureka has to do with blood and the releasing of potential. That's exactly what the Witch Queen did. Yeah. I think I've gone over my talking points, you guys. Let's see. We talked about the purified powers, what they'll look like, turning elves into devils. I think that'll happen. The Hoder Balder thing. So, I made a mistake in the last stream talking about how like Ragnarok starts with like Fenrir eating Odin. WK corrected me on that last night, saying that that's not what happens. It's when Balder is killed by his blind brother Hoder, and that would be really cool because him and I, our first stream was we talked about, or no, it was just my first stream, and then the next stream we talked more into it. But what it was about was talking about how Morris could be Hoder because he's the only blind character that we have, and it might be really interesting to see Morris come back and possibly go against Lucius and him be the one to take him down. And then after that, after Hoder kills Balder, Hoder is killed by Vali, who then lives on in the next world. But Ragnarok continues. But Vali is able to hide out in... I believe he hides out in like an oak tree or an ash tree, one of them, and is one of the few beings from the old world that persist into the recreation of the new one. So it's interesting, and I feel like it could play out that way. I don't think Morris is gone, but this is something we also have to understand. Someone last night had made this comment. They made a quote off of my tweet that I do want to address publicly. Because I think, not that it was like a bad take, but I think it's something we need to make sure that we're all wary of, though, going into this. So here it is. Let's go to the tweet here. So, okay. This is also just my history with like Spanish users on here is that for the most part they tend to disagree with all of my takes, which is really funny to me. I don't know why that is, but it's just the trend. So it says, I doubt that Lucius knows of Alicia's existence. Only the elves in the squad from the Heart Kingdom know its location. So, okay. So, number one, the thing I don't like about this is that it really downplays the knowledge of Lucius when we see that if he's able to not only make a contract with the devil, but then take over that contract almost completely, it seems, and purify the power and create a completely new power. It seems as though he's got the best idea of what's happening. And so, well, it doesn't necessarily mean that he knows the location of things. It does mean that he knows the history of the things that he is using, which should imply that all of these things have a very physical origin that you should be able to trace. And it's not like Alicia is a thing that can just freely move. Last time I checked, trees are rooted to the ground, so that has to be a very sacred and ancient place. Now, the next part of this is that Lucius ate Lucifero's heart. And I say this to say this. What did Lucifero do before he manifested? He drained every bit of life force out of Morris. Meaning that with that life force, he should have gained the knowledge that Morris stole from Lolopechka. And not that it even matters to Lucifero, because he's just going to lay waste to it all anyway. So there's no real use for any of that knowledge, especially if you think that you're all that in a bag of chips. So with Lucius eating that heart, he should have the knowledge of Lucifero, which means he also should have the knowledge of Morris that was stolen from Lolopechka, which means he ultimately should know where Alicia is. And that's a thing that I think should be realized within the community. I could easily be wrong, but if we take what Morris did with Lolopechka, it just becomes an arbitrary thing that meant nothing to the series. And Tabata has so far wasted no part of the series at all. So I do think it is it's just fundamentally wrong to think that Lucius wouldn't know of a place like Alicia, given all that was said. Why is Goblin just showing up everywhere now that Broku tweeted about him? That's funny. Okay, what are you guys saying in here? Helix, imagine Henry added Nox's state to the Black Bulls base, and after... Oh, that would be kind of cool, actually. That's a dope one. Because then they could just do on-the-run, like, devil contracts when they need it. That's kind of cool. I believe Chitose and Lucida could have a connection. I already read that, didn't I? Helix, do you still plan on... Oh, yeah. Thanks for reminding me. YouTube. I will say, with Lucida meaning lawful in Latin, does talk up to the point that there's a connection with Astaroth, since Astaroth is about justice, even in the Clipot. And Astarte was the goddess of justice, so that could be a connection in and of itself. So there is something there. What video did you leave it on? I don't remember. Had to have been the last one, I guess. Right? Hey, by the way, can you guys hear this video if I play it? Let me see. I want to do it with this. Let me know if you hear this video playing. Or I could do it too. Odin got down, and that was because he got beaten by Fenrir, and that instigated Ragnarok. Now, there's a large part of me that believes that Lucius is not. I don't hear it. The main villain. He's going to be something that sets up. Oh wait, I do. Or not sets up. Oh snap, guys! The game just changed. Okay. So the reason I asked was... Okay, I just wanted to make sure I could still hear. So the reason I asked if you guys could hear it is just because, like, I want to be able to watch some videos with you guys. And I've been, like, trying to test it out, but it wasn't working. But apparently it works, so... Cool! Some future streams might get a little interesting now. Okay. This guy made a cool comment, too, I forgot to say. He said Lucius looks like Furfur in this form. So Furfur is a demon, who... It's literally a stag demon. But yeah, I don't think it necessarily fits Lucius, but he does look like Furfur, so it's cool. It wasn't this one. It was Friday's stream. Let me go back. So that was the flaw of the world then, right? Let me pause this. Let me go to the comments section. Bruh, load. Let's go. Okay, yeah, this is definitely it. Okay, so here's where you're clarifying. And then you have another one that you added today about mixed theory. So we'll read this first. You'll clarify your drought theory since I feel like it was confusing during the stream. Okay. So Licht and Tetia... Sheesh. Okay. Licht and Tetia had twin children. One died without being born. And the soul was reborn into Yuno. I will say, off that first sentence, I just fundamentally disagree with it. I feel like he has got the one that lived after the massacre did with Tetia. But let's see what you have to say. Maybe you'll change my mind. The other lived on with Tetia and Alicia. For the son that lived, You're proposing has sword magic and is Dra. Launcha. Yeah, okay, I remember you saying this part. But I think he's important. He absolutely should be important. We see him in the anime use a communication magic spell, but communication magic I don't think is an attribute, but a form of magic. Right, it looked like it was just a magic item that he used, and he just uses mana to use it, and his grimoire wasn't out or anything like that, so... like track magic, creature magic, or reinforcement magic. This is because Marx uses communication magic all the time, but his attribute is memory magic. True. Additionally, Ladros has no attribute, but is very skilled in reinforcement magic, so you can use forms of magic without the need of an attribute. Let me just make sure I'm picking up what you're saying there. I'm going to have to read it again. Additionally, Ladros has no attribute, but is very skilled in reinforcement magic, so you can use forms of magic without the need. Right, okay. So saying Drought's magic is communication magic very well could be false. I don't think it is, right. One key to look out for is Mimosa, and if she ever develops a communication magic spell, maybe similar to the fungus magic guy. I think it's not impossible, because like you said, there's different applications of every magic, like Zora's magic is the best example, I feel like, where his is just straight up supposed to be ash, but he uses it as trap. Oh, you kind of said that. But yeah, the way he applies it is what makes it more than it is. The reason I say this is because Mimosa is stated by Raya resembles Tetia. Right. So I think Mimosa will be our reference to see the kind of mage Tetia was, despite having plant magic and not wind magic. Drought, the sword magic user, very well could be a support healing mage and not a combat mage like Yuno's elf spirit. Yuno's elf is confirmed an offensive mage at the very least, because he can achieve Saint Stage. Undine says spirit hosts who don't have offensive magic can't obtain Saint Stage magic, like Lolopechka. Did she say that much? I feel like she said she was able to teach it to her, but she didn't want to because Lolo was a rare, very pure soul who didn't have offensive magic, and she didn't want to essentially corrupt her by giving her the Saint Stage and, thus giving her things that would harm others. I think that was more of the issue there. And then you say, I'm assuming Drought's sword magic is for most healing support and isn't worthless either because the swords can connect to all the elves, as shown by Licht. So he potentially has the ability to heal an entire race at once with one spell. That would be really interesting. Other links are that he recognized Asta's grimoire and knew it's 5 right, he did, and that was the last we ever saw of him. The grimoire was hidden inside the tower walls of the Grimoire Tower he's the keeper of and wasn't placed there by Nero or Lucida, true. Also, he looks very old, and my headcanon is that elves have a very long lifespan compared to humans, but also with age your magic grows weak as seen by Sister Teresa. Is that her last name? I didn't know that. Drought, last bit of magic, is only capable of simple communication spells. Licht had an innate ability to communicate with the rest of the elves using his sword magic. My prediction is that his attribute was taken by Julius and Osterach and used in the creation of Liebe to set in motion their plan, including and taking down Lucius. Or he was used as a way to get each sword in their designed destination, as Licht previously had all the swords, but when Asta gets Licht's grimoire, it only has the Demon Slayer, which... Right, how did each sword get to the dungeon and the Garrido rock zone? Okay, that's interesting. I'm not totally against this Drought theory of him being, maybe the surviving son of Licht. That'd be kind of cool. It's also kind of, it would be kind of interesting to for him to have placed Lick's old grimoire within the walls, meaning that, it was his father's grimoire in this sense. So I think I'm going to try and help you flesh out the series. So if you say that he's the hybrid elf, right? Drought resembles what's called a druid in mythology, and these guys live for a very long time. They're very knowledgeable of most subjects, or all subjects, I should say, and they operate around oak trees, particularly. And if you guys have ever seen Teen Wolf, I think that's a good reference to make. They have this one guy. He's a hellhound, and he brings the dead bodies of any supernatural being to this tree because it connects to another world, and that's how they dispose of those bodies and keep the supernatural race a secret from the normal world, so that there's no traces of them. But it also helps connect all these other supernatural entities and worlds to the realm of the living. So, in this sense, we have a thing like the dryad, and dryads are able. They protect oak trees. I believe that's specific to oak or ash trees. It's one of them. So if he's a hybrid of Licht and Tetia, then he would end up being this dryad-like being, but more so, he would end up being a druid, I guess, in that sense. I mean, just to throw out something to maybe add into that theory, to flesh it out. You talk about the dryad. Okay, I should shut up, I guess. Okay, dryad, I believe, was the world tree mage that was used in the first Clipotic ritual Lolopechka mentioned, and Lucificus was the dark magic user. The ritual lasted many days, and the effects withered her body, resulting her needing to be sealed into a tree and live her life there. The connection is Luce by William was in a similar fate when his soul was suppressed by Patri, as we see when Asta tries to pull Patri out of despair. Dryad and Drat, I believe, are the mother and father of the two descendants of Licht. Wait, what? Dryad and Drought, I believe, are the mother and father. Okay, I see. Of like those two kids in Elysia right now. Of Licht and Tetia, we are shown making these two children the grandchildren of Tetia and Licht, and not too distant from the acquiring world tree magic from their mother, and sword magic from their father. Possibly light magic from their grand uncle, or Lucifuge could be related to the Dryad. Wait, what? Lucifuge being related to the Dryad, and therefore they could have dark magic as well. If these children are the children of a hybrid drought and an elf dryad, well, dryad's not an elf. It makes them 25% human and 75% elf, so a quarter of them is hybrid, and they would be capable of having two attributes. As Lyra states, sometimes hybrids have two attributes, but never state the percentage of them that's hybrid. Before I go on to the rest, I want to show you this, because it's for your theory, I think it might be an important piece of lore that you need. So, spirits in general can't procreate. They can, but it's not suggested. Oh, dang it. I thought that would be a key word. So, the deal with them is that should a spirit decide that they want to commingle with a human, what happens is that the human gains immortality, while that being, the spirit, is now mortal. Or I believe they both stay mortal. One of the two. But that being no longer is immortal for sure. So, dang it, I can't think of another keyword I'd have for it, but I do have a thread. Maybe I'll just link it to you when I find it later. But yeah, it might be important to for your theory, because she most definitely is a spirit, because that's what dryads are. I wouldn't classify her as an elf. And then you say Lucifuge before his change to a devil and his acquisition of dark magic, I believe could have had star magic, making him a Grinburial. As without stars, no matter the size, you don't have the light, meaning darkness. But also you don't have life because stars, like the sun, support and sustain life. Not all suns do though. And devils don't have life since Lucida can't absorb Liube's life force since he's a devil, or his mana since he's monolith. Okay, I had to reread that. Dark magic also absorbs magic. We see this with Yami's black hole spell, which is a good contrast to star magic. Okay. Edit. You believe that Lucifugus was possibly always a dark elf and was therefore demonic in nature given Patri's power, or dark elf form, distorting his magic to demon light magic. Lucifugus, then upon his sacrifice to the Clipbot, was just sent down to the underworld ever since. I don't know, I'm rambling now, but this is just a huge theory I have. Feel free to make a video about this if you buy into it or talk about it on Twitter. There's just a couple of theories I have that I haven't seen anywhere else. Okay, so with the Lucifugus thing, the Dark Elf, I don't think he's a Dark Elf anymore. It's possible that he could have been a Dark Elf to start, but remember Zagrid says it's like one of, or the first stage of an elf that is despairing. So he's alluding to the fact that he's not going to stay like this forever, but it's one of the stages that he will have to go through, and that could mean that that's one of the pathways to becoming supreme. But overall, your theory's fine to me. But yeah, I wanna send you that that thread. No, it's not even a thread. I think it's just like a one-off post that I made. It's just interesting that there was lore on elemental spirits commingling with humans and all that. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool though. Oh, blah blah blah. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Dr. Jack, the half-dead anachronist? What's an anachronist? Google search. Anachronist. To be anachronistic means belonging to a period other than that being portrayed. Okay. What did you say? They're probably referencing the ABD vid about Furfur being what Lucy. Oh, okay. I don't watch Anime's Balls Deep anymore. I haven't watched them like 3 years maybe. So yeah, I wouldn't know about that. They do discuss a few interesting things, but I don't know. It's difficult with so many mixed ideas in the manga. So there's plenty of like lesser demons like Furfur. Within the Grand Grimoire and other things like that, but I highly doubt Tabata's going to include them. It's such a minor part of demonology, it wouldn't really make sense to add them, to be honest, and it's a headache, especially with this being the last saga. It's too much to write, to be honest. And the capacities that they exist in are, they overlap with the rulers of hell. So like Osteroth, for example. One of the things Osteroth teaches is liberal science. That's also one of the things for someone like Satan Nakia and Fluerti. So it just wouldn't quite make sense. And like maybe for like high-ranking devils later, that could make sense. But like I assume it wouldn't go down like that because we did get a high rank for Zagrid, and the devils that were that came out with Lilith and Nama, or were those mid-rank, I think. Anyway, they didn't have any special names, anything like that, so I doubt they're going to include those guys. Shelly, do I think that Yami will lose trust in Nox? Since he didn't tell him about Lucius, and being a demon host after Lucius did that to Asta? Wait, what does Nox have to do with that, though? It's not like no one knew that Julius was Lucius. Maybe someone did, but not to Nox or Yami's knowledge that we know of. Helix, I tried to explain the Dryad connection in the reply to that comment. Yeah, I read that. Okay. Shelly, I can imagine that the Black Bulls will do a binding ritual on Asta to link him to Nox, but I think Asta will scream at Nox by calling him a liar about. But he wouldn't know about Lucy because okay, I don't know what you're getting at with that though, because you're insinuating that Nox knows about Lucius. But if he did, then they wouldn't he have just exposed him at the meeting? And yeah, I don't know. Are you maybe getting to the point of like Julius to some extent would have had to have known about the fasts and the devil rituals? Because then yeah, I guess if you look at it that way, that could be possible. But Nox seems like he's like good. I mean, I'm still sus of him to be honest, but I don't think he legitimately knows about Lucius. So I don't know. I wonder what Nox actually knew, and I'm not taking anything off the table for those possibilities. Yeah, I think Nox. There's still some stuff about Nox that we're not too positive on. He does have an originless grimoire, and again, the last time we saw an originalist grimoire turned out to be a devil, so could have something to do with that. Dr. Jack, again, I feel like we're in a spot where the manga can go almost, yeah, absolutely, can go anywhere. The number of things that will probably happen to so many people that are such different theories, you know. I don't know who T-San is. Shelly, I believe Lucius has planned to make the show. Yeah, that was in my theory like a couple months ago. I think is the perfect vessel. I'm never gonna finish this video, but 100% is the Philosopher's Stone. The living Philosopher's Stone is what I believe he is, and if Lucius can get a hold of him and somehow put himself inside of him, I could see that being the thing that really gets Asta going. You know, it's not just Lucius changing the woman that he loves into this other being that now doesn't want him alive, but it's going to be using his friend as a vessel and using him to fight Asta at some point in the series. So ultimately, this still is anime, and ultimately these rivalries will, end up fighting at some point. And even though this is a very healthy one, it won't be himself doing that. So I think that's something we can take away from that. Oh, you made the word up from that word. Okay. So you say a lot of people don't, but I still see what they're saying, even if it's knocked off other tubers' ideas most of the time. Helix, thanks man for checking it out, and I would love to get that added lore. It'll help flesh out some of the theories. Yep, I'll try and send it to you if I can find it for sure. I think Lucius is doing it to to make a perfect angel pawn to defeat the real chosen one, who will turn out to be Asta. Interesting. Helix, I was assuming that Dryad was an elf at least at one point in her life, given how she knows ultimate magic to the extent of being able to teach it. Okay, yeah. For sure. I think it's absolutely possible that she was an elf in like a previous life. I think she falls into the golden age, and she was a hero from a past world, along with Undine, Belle. They probably all know each other. So yeah, I can at least agree with you there for sure. Dr. Jack, yeah, people asking about Yami being upset about not saying about Lucius just makes me think it's possible he could know, but yeah, it's possible. Maybe the Supreme Demons will team up with humans in the real angels. I don't even see the point of like devils anymore, dude. You know, unless it's Beelzebub. But Lucius took out their best, you know. So if they team up with these devils, they're gonna have to make contracts. So I see a lot of people saying that they're gonna like conjure these things in full form. I don't see the point in that. It would prove to be very counterproductive. But if they make the contracts, then it would be more fruitful, because then I always say this, but humans are the perfect intermediary force, and that's something that I believe Lucius understands, which led him into being able to purify the demonic power. So I think the first step is that they may have to do that with these devils, if they do ultimately decide to team up with them. Someone saying, is that a gem likes horns? I don't think so. I think they look alike, though. But I hope that's not them alluding to that being a gem-like. That's Sister Lily. Riri. Let's see. Maybe it's... Okay, I saw that. Dr. Jack. Maybe he's manipulated in simpler ways by earlier Lucius. Possible. That's an interesting idea on Uno. Yeah, it's definitely creepy as hell, all these false angel imagery. Absolutely. I think that's cool. I really love that sort of stuff. You know, it's to blur the lines between good and evil, and people not knowing like who to trust will be big. Because look at the dichotomy that we do have. Is that Asta is a devil who's done nothing but good for the benefit of the Clover Kingdom, while Lucius now is seemingly this angelic being, in quotes, not an angel, who has this good agenda, but is using the vehicle of evil to do it. And he may not be a saint himself, so it's pretty. I think that's just like the story, one of the cyclic natures that Tabata likes using. That really alludes to the point that Lucius is not this be-all, end-all holy being. Do I think Morgan's dead? Yeah. We saw him at his grave. Or within Noct. Okay, that's a better question. I don't know if he's within Noct. I know a lot of people were speculating that he was, but I don't know. I feel like it definitely would make sense if he was. But I think he was supposed to be I think him and Noct were supposed to be one being, like all twins were supposed to be. But I think that was the point to it, because they were trying to recreate Lucius, but ultimately failed and believed that maybe they could make by with Noct, but ultimately they couldn't, because he was only half of what he should have been. Where Morgan would have been the force that could purify the demonic power that Noct was able to achieve. So while here's what it paints out, is that if Noct was born in full form with Morgan inside of him, they would have been able to make a contract with a supreme devil like Lucius did with Julius, instead of having Noct at half form, being able to only make these contracts with mid-rankers, but he's still able to make a larger being out of all of them. So, you know, I think it was just one of those failed things that happened with twins in the series to replicate Lucius. The other big thing is this false angel form being called human. By Lucius, it makes me pause for sure and wonder just how deep the occult mix matching goes. For sure. I don't know if you were here earlier, but we talked about the ages of man. There were different stages of humans in that. So this could be what humans used to look like way, way back in the day, like possibly before elemental spirits were even a thing. This is probably what the true human looked like in the golden age. So it'd be interesting to find out if that is actually the case in this series. Shelley, you're thinking Lucius will wind up being fallen and wind up becoming a 7-headed dragon in his demon form. So you think he's going to become like Azathoth, the... Yeah. Okay. Shit. I don't know. Dr. Jack, man, making me now think about Oni twin theory. I don't know what that is. But yeah. It is getting late on my end. I have to work early in the morning, you guys. So I'm going to close it out here. If you guys, again, have any questions, comments, concerns, or death threats, please put them in the comment section below here, because I don't get notifications about messages all that often, so I will probably miss it. Oh, look at that cat. Yeah, if you have any questions, sorry. I got distracted by the cat. How can I not? Put it in the comment section below, and I'll try to get to it. But yeah, hopefully you guys have a great week. You guys will probably hear from me before the week is up. So, especially on the weeks. So, let me know what you guys are, or what you think is going to happen in the next chapter. I don't know what's going to happen in the next chapter. If I had to speculate, I would say we see Asta's full potential in his true devil union. And the results that he's accrued since his Lucifero battle 15 months ago. So the full power should throw Lucius more for a loop. Should be a somewhat even match, but of course he's going to be blocked by Lily, and we're going to see the nature of her magic, which should give us some real insight on what purified demonic powers look like and what effect it has on humans when they go through that process. But anyway, this has been Jack Oates to Go. You either know or you don't.